Every storm was her stage, and one stranger watched from the crowd, waiting to join her dance. Most people run from the rain. They pull their collars tight, unfurl their umbrellas, and hurry toward the nearest shelter, grumbling about ruined plans and damp clothes. But not her. For Alara, the first rumble of thunder wasn't a warning, it was an overture. The first drop of rain wasn't an inconvenience, it was a spotlight. I first saw her on a Tuesday afternoon. The sky had turned a bruised purple, and the city was a symphony of car horns and hurried footsteps. I was tucked under the awning of a small bookstore, watching the world rush by. Then the downpour began, and in the middle of the deserted square, she appeared, barefoot, with her face turned up to the sky. She started to move. It wasn't a performance for an audience. It was a private conversation with the storm. Her arms swept through the air, catching raindrops like they were scattered diamonds. She spun, and her dress billowed around her, a splash of vibrant color against the gray, concrete canvas of the city. There was such unbridled joy in her movements, a freedom so profound it felt almost sacred. I was mesmerized. I stood there, clutching a book I'd forgotten I'd bought, completely captivated. From that day on, I became a storm chaser of a different kind. I wasn't looking for lightning strikes or funnel clouds. I was looking for her. Whenever the weather forecast predicted rain, a sense of anticipation would bubble up inside me. I'd find a discreet spot, a coffee shop window, or a quiet bus stop, and I would wait. And she never disappointed. She danced in gentle drizzles and torrential downpours. She danced during midday showers and midnight thunderstorms. Each dance was unique, a reflection of the storm's own temperament. A light, playful rain would inspire a skipping, gleeful ballet. A fierce, windy storm would call forth a powerful, dramatic, contemporary piece. Through her, I learned to see the beauty and personality in every storm. I never approached her. It felt like interrupting a prayer. I was just a silent observer, a one-man audience to the most beautiful show on earth. I started calling her the rain dancer in my mind. I didn't know her name, where she came from, or where she went after the last drop fell and the sun peeked through the clouds. She was a mystery, a beautiful, fleeting masterpiece painted by the rain. I learned more about her through her dancing than I could have from any conversation. I saw her resilience in the way she stood firm against gusts of wind. I saw her optimism in the way she splashed through a puddle with the delight of a child. I saw a deep, soulful strength in the way she embraced what everyone else ran from. She was teaching me, without ever knowing I existed, that you don't have to wait for the storm to pass. You can learn to dance in the rain. One evening, the forecast promised the biggest storm of the season. The sky was heavy and dark, pregnant with rain. I found my usual spot, my heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and a strange, unexplainable nervousness. The wind picked up, rustling the leaves and sending loose newspapers skittering across the pavement. The city hunkered down, bracing itself. And then the heavens opened. It was a deluge. The rain fell in Saleth. Silver sheets so thick you could barely see across the square. And there she was. But this time, something was different. She wasn't dancing. She was just standing there, her head bowed, her shoulders slumped, letting the torrential rain soak her to the bone. The joyful energy that usually radiated from her was gone, replaced by a stillness that felt heavy with sorrow. The storm raged around her, a reflection of the turmoil I could feel just by looking at her. The wind whipped her hair across her face, and the rain streamed down her cheeks like tears, mingling with the ones I could now see were real. My heart ached for her. The girl who found so much joy in the rain was now being drowned by her own storm. For weeks, I had been a spectator, a silent admirer from the wings. But tonight, that wasn't enough. The fear of intruding was overwhelmed by a deeper fear. The fear of leaving her to face her storm alone. My feet started moving before my mind had a chance to argue. I stepped out from under the awning, leaving the warmth and dryness behind. The cold shock of the rain hit me, but I barely noticed. My focus was entirely on her. I walked slowly, deliberately, across the flooded square, my own shoes quickly filling with water. The sound of my splashing footsteps was swallowed by the roar of the downpour. I stopped a few feet away from her. She hadn't moved. She hadn't even seemed to notice my approach. My heart was hammering against my ribs. What do, primerasa? What can I possibly do? All the words I could think of felt small and inadequate. So, I didn't speak. I just listened. I listened to the rhythm of the rain, the rhythm she had taught me to hear. It was a slow, mournful beat tonight. And hesitantly, I started to move. It wasn't a grand performance. It was a simple, awkward step, a slow sway, a quiet gesture of solidarity in the pouring rain. Slowly, she lifted her head. Her eyes, redrimmed and full of a pain that took my breath away, found mine. There was confusion in them, and surprise. But there was also a flicker of something else. A tiny spark of recognition. Maybe. I didn't stop. I just kept moving to the storm's somber music, offering a silent invitation. For a long moment, she just watched me. The distance between us felt like a chasm. Then, she took a shaky breath. One hand lifted, tentatively, as if testing the air. Her foot took a small, uncertain step, and then another. She began to move, her dance a mirror of her sorrow. It was slow, broken, and heartbreakingly beautiful. We didn't dance together, not in the traditional sense. We danced near each other, two separate souls, sharing the same space, the same stage. We were two strangers, speaking a language without words, our movements telling a story of sadness, of empathy, of a shared moment of humanity under the weeping sky. As the storm began to soften, its fury abating, our dance softened with it. The movements became less about pain and more about release, a slow, cathartic unfolding. When the rain finally subsided to a gentle patter, we came to a stop, standing a few feet apart, breathing heavily in the now quiet city square. The air was clean and fresh, washed new by the storm. She looked at me, and for the first time, I saw a small, fragile smile touch her lips. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice hoarse. "I'm Liam," I said, my own voice barely above a whisper. "Alara?" she replied. And just like that, the mystery had a name. The rain dancer was Alara. We stood there for a while longer, not needing to fill the silence. The storm had passed. A new, quiet understanding had dawned in its place. We walked to a nearby all-night cafe, leaving a trail of wet footprints behind us, and over steaming mugs of hot chocolate. She told me why she danced in the rain. She told me about the loss she had suffered, and how the rain was the only thing that felt big enough to hold her grief. She danced to feel connected to something powerful, to feel alive when everything inside her felt numb. Tonight's storm had been the anniversary, and the weight of it had been too much to dance through, until she wasn't alone anymore. And I told her how I'd watched her, how she'd taught me to find beauty where others saw gloom, how she'd inspired me without ever knowing it. That night, a connection was forged, not just by a shared dance, but by shared vulnerability. We didn't magically solve each other's problems. Grief doesn't vanish overnight, and loneliness doesn't disappear with a single conversation. But we weren't alone in our storms anymore. Now, when the clouds gathered, sometimes we'd dance together. Sometimes we'd sit in a cafe and watch the rain fall, talking for hours. And sometimes, one of us would just stand on the sidelines, a silent, supportive presence. A reminder that no matter how fierce the storm, you don't have to face it by yourself. Every storm was once her stage, and a stranger watched from the crowd. But now, the stage is ours. Because sometimes, the most beautiful dance isn't the one you do for yourself, but the one you share with someone who was brave enough to step into your rain and learn the music of your storm. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more content like this. It truly means the world. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.